Welcome or welcome back to Facts TV. Back with another reaction for that AZZ. Hope everybody's feeling wonderful, feeling great as always. Oh my goodness, what do we have here? Man, it is a ruthless world out here. Kids who kill their own family and then brag about it afterwards. Have no remorse. You biting the hand that feeds you. Yo, we was scared. Yo, when I was a kid coming up, man, my grandma, my parents, I was scared of them, man. I'd be too scared to even raise my hand. Even if I thought about doing something to my grandmama, my mom, or somebody, I would think even if I thought about it, I felt like they would read my mind, come out that living room and come in my bedroom with my ass. You thinking about doing something to me? Nah, see, we came up in a different era, man. You ain't even think about doing nothing to your parents and nothing like that. These the people that gave you life. Give you everything. You get mad because you too young to go to a party and stay out too late to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever it is. Kids is killing parents over video games nowadays, unfortunately. So let's see what we got here, y'all.
Family issues are common, but usually not ones that reach the point of murder. But killers like Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero don't make that distinction. In Las Vegas, Nevada, the name Sin City has never been more accurate. Halseth and Guerrero, both teenagers, were in a relationship disapproved of by Halseth's father. Instead of trying to come to an agreement or even rebelling against her father, Sierra Halseth, with the help of her boyfriend, brutally murdered her own father, and his body was found on April the 9th, 2021. The body was found in a sleeping bag with 70 stab wounds, but that's not even the worst part. Apparently, they tried to dismember the body with saws and set it on fire before they left it in the garage.
How do you do that to your father, man? That loves you way more than that. You know how many boyfriends you're gonna have in your lifetime, probably? You thought that was gonna be your only boyfriend? You know how many boyfriends you probably was gonna have before you found the right one? But your dad, you only get one. 70 times?
What could drive two kids to commit such a horrific act? In court, Sierra dropped a bombshell, despite her completely lifeless expression. She read a letter painting Daniel as an abuser, an addict, and pedophile, with his harassment supposedly leading to his demise. Whether or not Sierra was on the wrong end of this abuse, she clearly suffered some disturbing change, as she recorded a video days after the murder with her accomplice boyfriend, laughing and gloating about the murder in a deeply unsettling way.
Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Whoa! Don't put that on the camera.
It was worth it.
Regardless of their
Was it really worth it? Let's see if it was worth it.
motives, justice was served for their crime, as they received life in prison with the possibility of parole after 22 years.
Was it really worth it? Now, y'all not together, and you probably got a boyfriend now. Allegedly. You probably got a boyfriend now. Instead of a girlfriend, now you're doing life with boyfriend. And I know it's, ooh.
On count 1, you're going to be sentenced to 48 to 120 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served, plus a consecutive 24 to 60 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a deadly weapon enhancement.
And while Halseth may have had some twisted motive, Nehemiah Griego's murder spree was on another level.
If you were personally making 100, 200, maybe even 500K a month personally, so that means
in New Mexico, 10 years ago, 15-year-old Nehemiah Griego went on an utter rampage in his own home with an AR-15 and a .22 caliber rifle. As he suddenly shot and killed his 40-year-old mother, his 9-year-old brother, his 2 sisters aged 5 and 2, and patiently waited among the dead bodies for his father to arrive so that he could murder him as well. Griego left a horrific bloodbath at home as he drove to church, and the pastor informed the authorities. Shockingly, no motive whatsoever.
So you murder your whole family and then go to the church and tell the pastor? What your brother and sister got to do with anything, man? Why the kids, man? Yo, your family?
whatsoever was found, other than Griego being suicidal and frustrated with his mother, but that would in no way explain how he murdered his entire family, even children. After pleading guilty, he was tried twice, once as a juvenile and once as an adult. During his adult hearing, though, Griego turned heads when he suddenly felt remorse facing those in his family who survived his rampage, apologizing to them and expressing his guilt.
I am sorry for taking our parents and our sins. I wish I could take them back. But reality is that we can't.
But it wasn't enough for his sister, who broke down crying. Griego couldn't even get the sympathy of the district attorney, who seemed to be haunted by this case.
As a homicide detective, I'd seen many death scenes, but this is the one I get to relive every day.
He ultimately received a life sentence, plus 7 years to run concurrently, with the possibility of parole at the age of 52. Speaking of
should never be eligible for parole, ever. How you get to murder so many people and then still be eligible for parole? In any amount of years.
Murderers of children, Dylan Schumacher.
Boy, as long as you got this skin folk for the kinfolk.
Also gets zero sympathy. Dylan Schumacher tried to make rounds in court when he broke down crying, but his acting skills were as bad as his consciousness. In Springville, Utah, 16-year-old Schumacher was babysitting his girlfriend's 2 children when he couldn't do the basic human task of calming down a crying 2-year-old, so he disgustingly decided to cover his head with a pillow and strike him to make him silent. But unsurprisingly, the damage the child received took his life. While Schumacher was clearly abusive, the prosecution and defense were at odds with a second-degree manslaughter or second-degree murder charge.
Austin Smith was completely defenseless. That's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there, including my client's inability to either control his anger or frustration.
You gotta be a piece of shit, in my opinion, to be a fucking lawyer defending any of this. He should have to represent himself or not be represented. How do you even make any fucking excuse out for him smothering a 2-year-old and killing him and punching him? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? How do you go home at night and sleep and look at your kids if you got any? How? How do you go home at night, you piece of shit lawyer? In my opinion, it's no words. He shouldn't have said nothing in his defense. Nothing.
And his inexperience in babysitting.
What is to say he won't do this again?
Well, we don't know that. I think it's completely unlikely.
But fairness is not lost in the world, and
Why would you think it's completely unlikely? Why? Would you let him babysit your 2-year-old? Since you want him out and everything like that, since you saying that it's unlikely, you had a 2-year-old, let him babysit your 2-year-old then. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Schumacher was tried with the intention to kill and first-degree assault until he tried to put on a sympathy act in court.
I didn't mean to kill Austin. Actually, I really didn't. I really think I did that. I didn't mean to hurt him.
Dylan broke down to his girlfriend, claiming that he loved her son, but he was quickly exposed when a video came out of him saying,
I am a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury, and they're going to feel sorry for me.
The act couldn't fool the judge or jury, and
Do you think I would do that? It's very unlikely. You think I would hurt him on purpose? Yeah, this is what you defending, Lord. You should feel, all money ain't good money. You might be doing this pro bono. Who knows? It's no amount of money that you can give me to defend that. Lawyer or not, I could be the best lawyer ever. I'm not taking. I could be the brokest lawyer ever. First case, need the money to pay rent. I'm just not paying my rent that month. I'm going to get it some other way.
Schumacher received 18 years to life with the possibility of parole in 2031. These apologies.
Kill a baby. Kill a baby. And you eligible. I'm just going to jump out on a limb and say allegedly I could be wrong, but I'm just going to say if the person had my skin folk, they might be looking at the death penalty if they still had it.
Apologies in court barely stir up any sympathy for the murderers, just like Tyler Hadley. In Port St. Lucie, Florida, 17-year-old Tyler Hadley thought out an entire murder plot straight out of a movie. He first invited a bunch of people over for a party, but they didn't know that this would be a party from hell when Hadley took 3 ecstasy pills and murdered his own mother and father, Mary Jo and Blake Hadley, with a claw hammer. During the party, the dead bodies could be smelled, and it was an extremely disturbing and tense time for Michael Mandel, to whom Tyler confessed the crime, until Mandel could leave the party and report the horrible crime. As far as motive went, this went far back to Tyler having major problems with drugs, as well as prior convictions for arson, vandalism, theft, battery, and injuring a child with his father's car, which apparently he used to steal without permission. But the last straw was his parents attempting to get him help for his drug problem. So he reacted by taking their lives and cementing his irredeemable nature. During his trial, the state really wanted to give the death penalty, but couldn't for his age, so he was granted a life sentence that was reconsidered in 2016, but reapplied again in 2018.
I can apologize and make amends for the horrible acts I've done, I committed.
This came after Hadley's brother spoke out in court.
Well, I guess what I want is for him to get the maximum penalty possible, which I understand is life in prison without parole.
Other family members who faced Tyler in court included his mother's niece.
We pray that sometime in the future he will have the opportunity to rehabilitate and have a life on the outside.
Tyler had the nerve to speak out in court and apologize for his actions. His apology was undermined by his brother, literally asking for him to get the highest sentence.
Shout out to your brother, man. Because I don't know if I could do that for my brother, but if he did something like that, then I probably would. Because I'm all about fairness, man, regardless of who you are. You killed your parents and then you partied afterwards, bro. In the same house that your parents were dead, stinking. Because they was trying to, because they loved you. They was just trying to further, think about that. They wanted to get you help with your drug problem so you could live a long life. They was trying to preserve your life and you took theirs. Wow. They was trying to preserve yours and you expired theirs. Wow.
Possible. Disconnect from reality can also lead to disastrous horror, such as what happened with Daniel Patrick. A 16-year-old Daniel couldn't tell fact from video games when he became obsessed with video games after a skiing accident that left him with spinal injuries and too much time to spend playing games. After a disagreement with his parents over wanting to get the video game Halo, Patrick horrifically imitated the game to a disastrous degree when he stole his father's handgun from a safe and shot both his mum and his dad. While his dad survived, his mum passed away from her injuries. After fleeing the crime scene in a van, Daniel was caught by the police. Things changed dramatically in court for both Daniel and his father, who showed
So he blamed it on the video game.
genuine emotion and regret in court. Daniel could be seen crying, and his dad seemed to have forgiven him, even defending his son.
I can't count the number of times he has told me that he's so sorry for what he did and he'll never be able to forgive himself. I can also count the number of times he has told me that he's so happy that I survived and so glad to still be able to see me.
With the defense and psychiatrists arguing,
Damn, boy, a father's love, man. A parent's love for their child. You tried to kill me, shot me in the head, I survived, and I still forgive you and believe that you can be a normal citizen or whatever. Wow.
that Daniel couldn't distinguish reality from video game fiction, Daniel could not receive the death penalty.
This is not the case of a drug.
Hold up, so he could just blame it on the video? Man, I thought I was in a video game, man. I play video games so much, I thought I was in a video game. That's his defense?
Fiend stash being taken away. Daniel chose, in the words of his father, he referred to him in his interview as a pathological liar. Daniel had serious problems telling the truth.
Regardless of addiction or disconnect, Daniel received life in prison with a possibility of parole after 23 years. This goes to show that forgiveness cannot stand against justice. While some argue that video games lead to violence, childhood trauma is definitely way worse, leading to cases like Seth Privacky. After being neglected by his parents, who apparently had nothing nice to say about him, Seth Privacky went on a rabbit hole of drugs and stealing that culminated in a brutal killing spree when he was only 18 years old in Muskegon, Michigan in November the 29th, 1998. Privacky would shoot both his parents, his brother, his grandfather, and his brother's girlfriend. While the authorities could not point toward a specific motive, it was clear that a lack of love led him down this path all the way to the courtroom, where he gave an apology that's impossible to deem genuine or not.
Damn, what the brother and the girlfriend do? Damn, man.
I'm sorry for what I did, but that's hardly enough.
Seth received life in prison without parole in 1999. Then the story got 10 times crazier a decade later, when in prison, 3 men, including Privacky, took control of a tractor-trailer and drove right through the prison fence. After the guards fired...
Hey YouTuber, what if you could skyrocket your YouTube channel growth all while you sleep?
He's a criminal.
One bullet struck Privacky straight in the head, killing him.
You think of irony, karma, what you sow, so shall you reap.
Whether it was karma or a sad tale of an
Wow, he got killed in a prison escape. Who would have thought? They saying it's karma. Wow.
loved boy, that's up to you. More often than not, it's mental illness that leads to horrific crimes like these, such as with Jake Evans. In a Parker County, Texas mansion, 17-year-old Jake Evans one day snapped, grabbed a .22 caliber pistol, and shot his mother and young sister on a complete whim. He immediately called 911, and the call was both horrifying and saddening, as Evans is clearly suffering from severe issues.
911, where's your emergency?
My house.
Okay, what's the emergency?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
You just killed your mother and your sister? How did you do that?
I shot him with a .22 revolver.
Are you sure they're dead?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to stay on the phone with me, okay? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Where is the gun?
It's on the kitchen counter.
According to the call, he'd been
I've never heard a phone call so calm and collective from somebody who just killed their family members. Yeah, man, you might just want to come. Yeah, what's up? What's up? Yeah, man, I'm just chilling. I just killed my couple folks in my crib. Yeah, gun is right there on the counter. You might want to send somebody. Like, I'm not even being funny. Like, you look like you come from a great family too, man. Look at this. This is like the all-American family right here.
planning to kill for quite some time, and apparently was planning on killing his other sisters and grandparents, taking
Hey, he look like the only male. All sisters and daughters and aunties.
inspiration from Rob Zombie's Halloween movie, and a general disconnect with human nature.
Is there any reason that you were so angry at your mother and your sister?
I don't know. I wasn't. It's weird. I wasn't even really angry with them. It just kind of happened. I've been kind of planning on killing for a while now.
The two of them, or just anybody?
Pretty much anybody.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really like people's kind of attitude.
Right.
I think they're very like, you know.
Oh, well, excuse me. Mister, I just don't like people and just don't like the way people's attitudes are. I just felt like killing somebody, so fuck it. I guess it'd be one of my family, my mom and my sister. Who says this stuff and does like he's so calm and collective, like he was supposed to do it? Like, yeah, man, you know, I'm tired of people, man. I just don't like how people, you know what I mean? Just feel like they just entitled, you know? I don't like the entitlement of human beings. You know? Like, wow.
Emotional, I don't know, verbally rude to each other and stuff like that.
Right.
In court, it was an odd sight, as Evans looked no older than the adolescent he was supposed to be, pleading guilty for his crime. Although controversy was stirred regarding how much prison time he should and should not be getting, he was ultimately charged with capital murder and given 45 years with a chance of parole at half his sentence. This one doesn't feel very satisfying, as this young man clearly needed psychiatric help rather than an orange jumpsuit. Speaking of somewhat
in my opinion, he need both. No, he need prison and he needs psychiatric help for the rest of his life. Don't ever let him out. Not when you kill two people. And then he said because he just felt like killing somebody. So I believe he would definitely kill again.
fair rulings for those who are ill, there was a lot of sympathy for Jacob Morgan, whose status as a killer is in definite question. In South Carolina, 17-year-old Jacob Morgan was in charge of taking care of his 14-month-old baby brother, Joshua, when a fire...
No, you better not say the baby. You better not. You better not say anything to this baby.
broke out accidentally that was seemingly started by Morgan, who changed his statements from throwing a pillow near a heater to lighting the pillow on fire. Regardless of how it happened, Morgan was unable to do anything as baby Joshua tragically passed away in flames. In court, Morgan was in shock and tears at what had transpired. And the hidden truth was that he was on the autism spectrum with a fascination with fire, which caused him to start this fire and another one 2 weeks prior.
The burn pattern that goes from underneath that child towards the door of the bedroom, that is caused by likely something. It's a significant burn pattern as he described it. It could have been alcohol, it could have been something else that gets consumed by the fire, but a significant burn pattern shows that there is something said significant and intentional.
Because of these conditions, Morgan was not charged with murder, but involuntary manslaughter, with a 10-year sentence to run consecutively with a 15-year sentence and 5 years of probation for arson.
I believe the state has, in fact.
Skin folk for the kinfolk, man. That's my opinion, man. As long as you got the skin folk with the kinfolk.
Met the burden, so therefore I am going to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual with the...
And he acted surprised. He acted like he should be getting no time. He's acting like he's fucking innocent. Like they wrongfully fucking convicting this dude or something. Fuck this rubbish. Don't you know you murdered a baby, my nigga? A baby.
Down over for General Sessions Court for late charges.
Man, this is that, yo. That is disturbing, man. And you see one thing about it. Look at all the folk in that video. Look at the skin folk and all the people in that video. You see the pattern. You see the pattern, right? And it seemed like they all was eligible for parole at some point in their life. Y'all leave a comment, let me know how y'all feel about that, and subscribe to the channel before you get out of here. You know what I'm saying? One time, please.